Damian Lillard, the Blazers icon, is headed back to Portland. 3 years, $42 million deal, player option in the final year of that contract. He is going to make $70 million next season when he is not expected to play a minute between the Blazers deal and the money he will make from the Milwaukee Bucks. 2 years ago, Dame forced his way out of Portland because he wanted a chance to win a championship. What was your reaction to his decision to go back?
Well, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for everyone involved. I'm thrilled for Dame because, yes, of course, and a lot's been made of this, and it's a huge factor. His family is in Portland, and being away from his kids has been so difficult for him. He did want to get out of Portland because they were going in an extremely different direction at the time, if you remember, from being at a championship level. They were basically rebuilding. Of course, he would want out of that. And it just became kind of nasty because he wanted to go to Miami. The Blazers wouldn't even speak to Miami because they didn't want to be handled like that. So therefore, they sent him off to Milwaukee, which was a good pairing with Giannis. Obviously, they didn't send him to a wasteland, but he just, had never been in a place with that kind of weather, is what he had said. I mean, obviously, every city's different. And just being away from his kids was just too hard, and he was depressed, and it sucked. And so that's a huge thing for him. But also, it's a little bit of what we've been talking about all summer, what I keep saying about Giannis and Milwaukee and some of the, Steph and Golden State and what Kobe had in Los Angeles and what Devin Booker appears to have in Phoenix, which is just this idea that sometimes being a very, very special part of an athletic community and connecting with fans the way Dame and the Portland Trail Blazers fans did, that's just as important as a bunch of the other stuff. So I'm happy for the organization on that side too, because Dame's going to be a huge draw. Even when he's not playing, he's going to be a huge draw. People are going to feel better about the team, seeing him on the bench, that kind of thing. And then when he does start playing next season, I think it's going to people are going to be so thrilled, whatever condition he's in, however he comes back from this injury. I think people are just going to be so thrilled to see him. And I think it's really special. And the $70 million for not playing a lick doesn't hurt. I mean, Sports Illustrated is not paying either one of us that, which is really a shame.
Not even close, unfortunately, but we'll take what we can get. You're right about the family side of this. This was entirely a family-driven decision for Damian Lillard. He has 3 kids that remained in the Portland area after he was traded to Milwaukee. And you go back to last year, early 2024, I spent some time around Dame when he was on the road, when he was in Milwaukee, and I talked to him for an SI story. And one of the things that kept coming up, and Dame, to his credit, is an incredibly forthright guy when you get him in that kind of setting. He talked a lot about kind of the loneliness of his time in Milwaukee. He wasn't complaining about it. He said, "Look, I'm an adult. I made this decision. I'm perfectly content with the outcome of my decision." But for the first time, he was waking up in his home city and not being around his 3 kids. He talked about not just the kids, but like the family and friend infrastructure that he had in Portland. People that he was around every single day, off days, after games. He had a routine going down there. I think he really missed that. And it's clear that his feelings about that overrode any feelings he might have or desire he might have to win a championship, or at least compete for a championship, because there were several championship level contenders that checked in with Damian Lillard and made it known that for this type of price, this mid-level exception-y money, they were very interested in talking to him about a new deal. But in his mind, it was more important to go back to Portland. He was going to be in Portland anyway. Like, he was planning on rehabbing in the Portland area regardless. Now, and look, I also think the Blazers, with or without signing him, were going to be willing to let him rehab in their facility, use whatever he wanted with that team. But now he will do it under the supervision of the Blazers medical staff. He will do it with all the infrastructure you need as an NBA player. So all that was clearly really important to him. And look, for the Blazers, this is a great story, to your point. Like, it undoubtedly energizes a fan base that could use a jolt of energy. I mean, paying Dame to rehab at your facility, that works for the Blazers. I'm not 100% sure the sense it makes from a basketball perspective. Like, I just, next year, in the 27-28 season, Dame's going to be 36 years old. Yes, I guess he can be a veteran mentor on that team. He can be a ticket seller on that team, but that's not a team. And we can get into what the Blazers might look like in the next couple of years. But that, no matter how you cut it, that's not a team that's going to be competing for a championship. So I think it is a bit of a weird fit for the team that they have. But overall, at that price, to bring Damian Lillard back, if you're Joe Cronin, you got to do it. And for Damian Lillard, you saw, the old grass isn't always greener. You saw what the grass elsewhere looked like. And you clearly were happier to come back to the lawn that you are most familiar with. But what do you think about the fit, I guess, for Dame in the whatever it is, 14, 15 months that it's going to be when he returns to the floor?
Yeah, I mean, I think the whole roster is a little Frankenstein, right? I mean, you've got pieces kind of all over the map. We talked about Jan Hansen in the last podcast, and that's great. And was really impressed, both of us, at Summer League. But then you've drafted centers 2 years in a row. Like, there's just a lot going on there that doesn't quite fit together. I look, I trust Chauncey Billups. I think he's one of the best coaches and will make what he has work. I do wonder, when you talk about, I don't really understand what their vision is or what they're doing. I mean, if you look around the West right now, I'm not saying anybody's giving up. I don't think Portland's like throwing up his hands and saying, well, the Thunder are here, the Nuggets are here, the Timberwolves are here. We're not gonna even try. I don't think that's happening. But I wonder if there is a little bit of, let's get a team that is kind of like those CJ McCollum Dame teams in the last decade, where it's like a team that the fans and the players feel good about, and that we will compete as hard as we can. And since we are probably not going to be title contenders in the next year or two anyway, let's create an environment that feels like this is a fun, functional basketball team. And more than the actual fit of each component on the roster with each other, I just think that that's not a dumb idea, that if you are not in a position to be like, we are a title contender this year and we're one piece away, which they were not, by the way, that you could say, okay, this is going to get us maybe in the middle. And that is a good stepping stone for where we eventually want to be. One thing neither one of us mentioned at the top is Dame also got a no trade clause inserted into this contract, which is kind of amazing, because when Bradley Beal got bought out by the Suns, that left LeBron James as the only player in the NBA who had a no trade clause. And you and I remember when that was a lot more common, and Dame got one put in. So I think that's good for him too, because that salary that he's coming in to the Blazers on, it's a tradable contract, right? And he, as you just said, the grass is not always greener. You want to stay in your home lawn. And
that would take a lot of huevas for Joe Cronin to trade Damian Lillard.
But not remotely on the level of what we've already seen this year.
Yeah,
Mavericks,
but if Dame went back there, yeah, I guess. But if Dame just re-signed there, they did this whole rollout to trade him midway through that deal.
Clearly, Dame Lillard thought it was enough of a chance.
Oh, look, if you can get it, you take it.
Yeah,
you can get it. You can take it. It is, to your point, like a very Frankenstein is a good word. It's a weird roster. Like Drew Holiday's in his mid-30s. Jeremy Grant's in his early 30s. Both these guys still good players. Mm-hmm. Denny Avdija might be the best player. Denny Avdija, I mocked that deal when it happened with the Washington Wizards. I thought giving up 2 first-round picks for Denny Avdija was bizarre. But the guy averaged 20 points per game last year. Played 72 games in Portland.
So he's from DC. I can tell you, he's a legit player.
He's a legit player. So I guess, to me, it's like, I'm curious to see what this team looks like in the summer of 2026, right? Like when Dame's poised to make his return, because next year, look, Shaedon Sharpe put up some numbers, but not the most efficient numbers. Scoot Henderson has not been good. Let's just put it that way. He's not been good. He's not lived up to the expectation they had for him, drafting him number 2 overall. They need him to take another step forward. If both those guys take big jumps next year, then maybe Dame could walk into a team that's kind of interesting, that could compete for a play-in spot in the Western Conference. And then, if we're fast-forwarding a little further, Dame, when I talked to him years ago, he's the guy that's going to play, I think, till the wheels fall off. I think he's going to, he loves the game and he loves to play and he still believes he's a high-level player. If he gets the summer or the offseason of 2027 and he can opt out of that contract, then maybe he does it. Maybe he does it and goes down to play for Miami or Boston or any of these other contenders that showed an interest in him in the past. Maybe it's San Antonio at that point is maybe, but like there's a reason there's a player option there. I think it's not just a straight 3-year deal.
No, of course. And again, to your point, if you can get it, you ask for it, right? So he got it. But this idea and the way you phrase it is great about the grass being greener. I just wonder what the money these guys are making now, too. I mean, $70 million for not playing isn't bad. I wonder if they're just able to take other factors into account. And I just personally, knowing Dame as well as I do, I can't see him leaving Portland again for a possible chance at maybe a title. And honestly, in any team, even ones that we consider favorites, that's all it is, right? A team is one injury away. It is one bad bracket away from not being able to do it. And I just think taking that chance is something that we might see some players choose not to do anymore. I mean, there were teams that wanted Bradley Beal. The competitors, the Clippers, by the way, we'll talk about them. I think they're actually going to be a super interesting team next year. But I just think that these guys know that if they go to, quote, the best, most favored contender there is, unless it's the Steph Curry, Kevin Durant teams of the late 2010s, it's still a dice game.
Yeah,
I don't see Dame playing it. I just feel that he is take the player option. You never know. I think with the no trade clause, the player option, my guess, and I have not talked to him about this, is there's still some lingering distrust of Cronin and that front office. And even though they've made up, I think there's a little bit of show me, and he just sort of wants the options not to get screwed over. But I don't see that as necessarily, man, he's going to look around in a couple years. I would be very surprised if Dame Lillard does not retire as a Portland Trailblazer.
See, that's where we might, I don't know. Like the question I would ask Dame, if he made an appearance on the podcast, he's always welcome. Or if he has a press conference, which I'm sure he will, I would ask, is this the last uniform you're going to wear? Is this the last team that you're going to play for? I'm going to guess it's not going to be a definitive yes. And maybe there's a lot of reasons for him saying that, but I'm going to guess that, look, if he comes back to Portland in the 26-27 season, he contributes, he helps them compete for a play-in spot. I'm going to guess there's going to be some thoughts in his mind, like, I can still play. I want a chance to win a championship. My relationship with Portland is pretty good. I'd be leaving on good terms if I just walked away after that. I think there's a lot of scenarios that see him play for somebody else, because I think he can play, or probably will try to play. We'll see what this Achilles injury does. It might change everything. But age 37, age 38, maybe even age 39, I could see him in the NBA, playing for a contender. And it'll be a contender of his choosing. He'll be able to hit free agency, go where he wants to go. If he wants to play in Miami, if he wants to play in LA, if he wants to play anywhere else, he will be able to dictate where he wants to go. So I'm keeping the door open on that one in particular.
Here's what I would like to institute on this podcast, because I feel like I missed my shot with being correct on Giannis. Thank you very much. Although the summer is
not
over.
Going down that rabbit hole.
This summer is not over, to your point. But I'd like to institute maybe a series of $1 bets, something low stakes.
Okay.
And I'd like to $1 bet you that Dame Lillard will retire a Portland Trailblazer, and we can see what happens.
$1 bet will account for inflation too. Could wind up being like $1.30 in 2 years. We'll do that. $1 bet, lock it in on the table.